"No one loves a fat girl, sir, but I can cook," whispered the settler woman. The rancher's reply. Soft instrumental guitar fades in, slow, mournful, like a western twilight. I still remember the way his boots sounded when he stepped onto my porch that evening, heavy, deliberate, and sure. The air smelled of rain and smoke, and the last of the sunlight caught the dust floating in through the open doorway. My hands were trembling around the edge of the flour sack. I hadn't seen another soul in days, not since the stage passed through and left me alone again, on this patch of land that was supposed to be my new beginning. He stood there, broad-shouldered, with a weathered hat that looked older than most men I'd met. "Ma'am," he said, touching the brim of it, "I'm looking for water, and maybe a warm meal if it's not too much trouble." I swallowed hard. No man had ever come up this far to my lonely cabin unless he'd lost his way. And before I could stop myself, I said quietly, half to him, half to the aching silence, "No one loves a fat girl, sir, but I can cook." He blinked, just once, like I'd said something that didn't make sense. Then his mouth tugged into a small, uncertain smile. "Well," he said after a beat, "seems to me a man'd be a fool to turn down a meal from a woman who knows her worth that well." His name was Cole Hastings, a rancher from the next valley over, or so he said. But there was something about the way he looked at me, not in pity, not in hunger, but like he saw right through the years I'd spent hiding behind my apron and my wood stove. Conflict and connection. That night, I cooked like it was my last chance to prove I deserved to be seen. Biscuits golden as prairie dawns, beans simmered slow with salt pork, and a pie I'd been saving for winter. He sat near the fire, hat resting on his knee, hands rough and strong but polite, like he didn't know where to put them. "You live out here alone?" he asked quietly. I nodded. "It's quieter than the townsfolk's laughter." He tilted his head. "They laughed at you?" I gave a dry chuckle. "They always do. A woman with a full figure and a sharp tongue don't fit neatly into church benches or supper tables." He stared into the fire for a long while. "My late wife, she was like that. Said folks don't know what to do with a woman who won't apologize for taking up space." Something in my chest cracked open at that. I busied myself with the skillet, but he saw the shine in my eyes anyway. When the rain started, he helped me bring in the wash, silent but steady. His sleeve brushed mine once, and it was enough to send my heart into a spin I hadn't felt since before the war. Later, he lingered at the door, hat in hand. "You ever think about coming down to the valley?" he asked. I laughed softly. "And do what?" "Mr. Hastings. Stand next to those fine ranch wives who weigh half as much and smile twice as wide." He didn't smile back. Instead, he said, "You think a man measures love by a woman's waist?" I turned away. "I think the world does." The weeks passed, and he kept finding reasons to visit. A broken fence post. A borrowed pot. A calf gone missing. Each time, he'd stay a little longer, enough to fix something, enough to remind me I wasn't invisible. We'd talk while I cooked, stories about the prairie winds, the cattle drives, the storms that could tear a man's roof clean off. And sometimes, about the quiet. That strange, aching kind of quiet that only the plains can hold. He told me once, "Out here, you can hear your own heart echo if you listen hard enough." I smiled, wiping my hands on my apron. "Mine's been echoing for a long time, Mr. Hastings." No one ever answered. He looked at me then, really looked, and said, "Maybe you just didn't wait long enough for someone worth hearing it." One afternoon, I was out hanging laundry when I saw his horse crest the ridge again. But this time, his face was grim. "There's talk in town," he said, tying his reins. "About me?" I asked, though I already knew. He nodded. "They don't like the idea of me calling on a woman they call the heavy widow." I forced a laugh. "Guess even gossip rides fast in these parts." He took a step closer. "You gonna let him stop you from living?" I stared down at my hands, raw from work, lined with flour and age. "I already did," I whispered. "A long time ago." That's when he reached out and lifted my chin. His thumb brushed the corner of my jaw, soft, steady, sure. And in that moment, I saw not a man offering pity, but a man seeing strength. "You're beautiful, Clara," he said. "Not, despite, anything. Just plain beautiful. You make this cabin smell like home. You make the wind feel less lonely. If they can't see that, to hell with him." My breath caught in my throat. No one had ever said that to me. Not my father. Not my late husband. Not even myself. I felt the tears come, hot and silent. He didn't look away. Resolution and reflection. Months passed, seasons turned. And one morning, the valley turned gold under the first light of autumn. I stood at the porch, apron tied neat, hands dusted with flour. A wagon rolled down the trail, his wagon, loaded with tools, supplies, and a dog that barked like it owned the land. Cole climbed down, smiling that small, quiet smile of his. "You ready?" he asked. "For what?" He looked around the cabin. The stove, the herbs drying above, the table that had seen so many shared meals. "For something new," he said, "for building it together." I could have said no. I could have let the fear win again. The fear of laughter, judgment, the whispering tongues of small-minded folks. But when I looked at him, at the way his hand reached out for mine without hesitation, I saw something the world had never shown me: choice. Not desperation. Not shame. Just choice. So I nodded. "I'll come." Soft guitar music swells, wind blowing gently across prairie fields. We built that new home at the edge of his land, where the wildflowers grew tall and yellow in summer. He still calls me his best cook, though he always adds, "and the best damn woman to walk the plains." Sometimes when the night grows quiet and the fire hums low, I think about that first day. About the girl who thought no one could love her because the world said she wasn't small enough, sweet enough, or silent enough. She was wrong. Love, I learned, isn't a mirror that flatters. It's a fire that sees your scars and keeps you warm anyway. And every morning when I roll out the dough, I whisper softly to the wind, "No one loves a fat girl, sir." Maybe not. But one rancher sure as hell does.